the Bible tells us the word of God is alive and powerful. It is sharper than a double-edged sword, and that it exposes our most desires and thoughts. It continues to say that nothing is hidden before the eyes of God. Everything is naked and exposed before Him, and that it is in Him that we are all accountable. So the Bible is as relevant today as it was then, if not more. But I think that we tend to think that the Bible is fiction, or those stories were not true stories, or we can't relate to them. But we can. So we can relate to those stories. I've shared before that there's power in our story, and we are the main character in our story. And our story has the past, present, and future. The past talks about our experiences, good or bad, the mistakes that we've done, and the skills that we've picked up along the way. And our present talks to our current state of mind, and what we believe about ourselves, and what we believe about God, or our anchor. And the future, that is our ambitions, our plans, our dreams, what we want to achieve in the future. And I felt led to just take some stories from the Bible. For instance, today I'm going to share the story of Abraham. The Bible tells us that Abraham was born to Terah, his father. They had 3 sons. Terah had 3 sons. That means Abraham had 2 brothers. And his brother Haran died. Now he's left with his brother Nahor, who is married to, he has a wife, his wife is a daughter to Haran. That means he's married to his niece. Abraham is married to Sarai. At the time his name is Abram. He has not been changed to Abraham. So it's Abram, and he's married to Sarai. And the Bible points this out to us that Sarai was struggling to conceive. She was struggling to conceive. They didn't have children. And then their father Terah takes Abraham, his son, his daughter-in-law, and Lot. Lot is the son to Haran, the son who died. He takes them from where they were living. They were living in Ur, and he takes them. Is one day taking them, and they are going to Canaan, but they stop at Haran. They must have stopped there for years, because eventually now Terah dies. So I believe that Terah was led by God on this mission, where God told, I believe that it started with him, where God said, leave the place that you've known, the place of comfort, and to the land that I'm going to show you, and which is Canaan. But he stops at Haran, where he dies. And then now God tells Abraham to continue with this journey. He tells him to get up and leave, and goes to the land that is going to show him, which is Canaan. And then on the way, now Abraham has to leave everything that he knows. He's struggling to conceive, and God makes him a promise that I'm going to make you a father of nations. But they don't have children. And the Bible tells us 10 years passes. 10 years passes, and still there's no sign of a child. Until now, Sarai comes up with this grand plan to say, sleep with my maid, and I will have children through her. And this plan works. Haggai falls pregnant, and then now Haggai starts to have an attitude towards Sarai. When your plan turns against you, your master plan turns against you, this is what now she's faced with. And she's frustrated with her husband. For her, it feels like this woman is behaving like this because whatever you guys are doing in your private time, she must be enjoying that now it seems like she just wants to replace me. And I just love the word of God. where now, eventually now, she just tells her to leave. Sarai tells Hagai to leave. And as Hagai lives now with being pregnant and nowhere to go, she meets the angel of God. And the angel of God now guides her. But now, back to Abraham. Abraham, now, his story, the past, is that he has lost his father, and he's told now to leave his familiarity or his comfort and go to this land that he doesn't know. And along the way, there are so many challenges. First, this land, he experiences drought, and he has to continue and go to Egypt. In Egypt, he lies and says, he tells Sarai that you must say you are my sister, because if they know that you are my wife, they will kill me to get to you. And she continues with this lie. And God comes to their rescue by sending diseases now to Pharaoh the king, who was planning to marry Sarai, because he's under the impression that she's just a sister to this man. He doesn't know. And then when now he starts to get sick, him and his entire household, he calls Abraham and tells him that, why did you lie? And already Abraham, by him agreeing to this plan of the king taking his wife, who is now under pretense to be his sister, he has already received so many gifts from the king, because the king is about to marry his sister. So, but now, as much as this is his past, all of this thing, he doesn't stop believing in God. The Bible tells us that Abraham is the father of faith. Fast forward now, eventually they do get the child, the promised child, who is Isaac, and God tells him to sacrifice his son. And he does this. He takes the child, he goes to the mountain as being told or being instructed by the angel of light. He goes there, he's about now to sacrifice his son, and the angel tells him to, the voice comes and the voice tells him to stop what he's about to do. For God, God says that he is the father of faith, because he didn't doubt. Because he's saying, okay, you gave me this child, you can bring him to life again, or you can give me another child. Whatever your will is, Lord, your will must come to fruition, must happen as you will. So this pleases God so much. This pleases God so much, because God, without faith, you cannot please God. And you have to believe that he exists, and that he is the rewarder of those who sincerely seek him. So he knew that there was going to be a reward in him sacrificing, and that he knows that God does exist, because God has been faithful through his life. And the promises that God made to him have come to fruition. He has the child that was promised to him. And therefore now, as God promises that his future, that he's going to have so many descendants, as God even tells him to count the stars, and he can't count the stars. He says that your descendants will be as many as the sand also on the seashore. You will be able, you won't be able to even count them. So the future is so bright for him, because he believes in God. So his story, we can relate so much in his story, where we've made mistakes in our past, where bad things have happened to us. We've lost loved ones. There are things that we would love to have, but they are not happening at the time that we want. But what is important is at this present moment, what do you believe about yourself? And more especially, what do you believe about God? God's plans for your life, God's love for you, and him being for you, never leaving you and never forsaking you. What do you believe about him? And where do you think God is taking you? The promises that he has made to you, will they come to fruition? What do you believe about him? So I hope you can relate to the story of Abraham. Till next time then, goodbye.